Welcome back to the channel and our ongoing adventure in New Zealand, where so far bad weather has made it a little challenging start to the trip, but we have started to see the amazing beauty of the New Zealand landscape in this episode.
And then they go back to Tahiti.
And who told you that?
I've just never slept so well. It's a collapsed blowhole.
There was a tragedy.
Salad, egg salad.
Too oily for me. We've woken up to some welcome blue skies as we leave the campsite and we start to travel out of the Coromandel area. And it's amazing how just a little bit of sun paints a different picture compared to when we travelled up in driving rain a few days ago. Now today, Roger's identified a midday stop at the town of Whangamata. But for now, we're simply enjoying touring in our new motorhomes. If you enjoy our videos, please hit that like button now and subscribe. It's all free and you will be making a huge difference to the channel and we'd really appreciate it. Now we soon get to the town and parking was really easy, free and importantly just by the beach and perfect for a few hours. And this is our first time seeing a sun-drenched beach. And we simply just take time walking in the surf and watching various water sports. Now the island over there is called Whangamata Island or Donut Island, and it's a collapsed blowhole, which looks an incredible place to explore from the pictures that we've seen. And we head back into town. Now Whanga means bay and Mata means hard stone that washes up on the beach. And we come face to face from what we've driven through before, of a typical looking New Zealand town with a main street with small independent shops, bars and cafes, and it looks full of life. And Caroline and I nip in and out of shops purely for research reasons, of course. And Caroline then identifies a well-known cafe called the Port Road Project for brunch. And the food was amazing. And Roger and Stu went for the Turkish poached eggs, which packed quite a punch, but too oily for me, I'm afraid. This town is really well worth visiting for a few hours or even to stay longer. It has a great vibe feeling to it, and the Port Road Project is a must for a food experience. And we continue to drive south as we haven't yet fully identified where we're going to stop for the night. The mountain in the distance is Mount Maunganui, formed by a lava dome 2 or 3 million years ago. Now, unfortunately, after a few freedom spots just didn't work out with our 2 motorhomes, we came across this small place for just 10 NZ dollars or £5 a night. And it's a place called Otamariko. And it's just on the Pukahina beach. No facilities, but we don't need them, so it's just perfect. And there's a few vans here already, as apparently there's a major fishing competition that's occurring the following day. There's some good prize money up for grabs. And the competition is occurring all along the coast. Roger and Caroline go for a stroll and they discover local eels, which migrate some distance.
There are big eels in that creek. You can see them just under the bridge. They breed. They live up to their age of 60. They breed once, and then they go back to Tahiti.
And who told you that?
Fishermen.
And this is something that will come across again and again on this trip. And I have to say, not to my liking, as they look really frightening. And we take a walk along the shaly sands, enjoying the evening. But there's already lots of people camping on the beach, claiming their positions for the pending competition. And it's just great being out in the landscape, I have to say.
So we wake up on the second day. It was a good night. I had a good night's sleep there. It was a really nice spot, actually. Good sight.
I've got to say, the bed in this van was just on another level, honestly. I've just never slept so well.
You slept really well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was a fixed bed, which we'll show you in the review and that. So we had a real good night's sleep. We got the vans close together, and I think the night before we'd had a barbecue as well. We then went onto the beach again just for a sort of a morning walk before we set off, more than anything else. And because it's the bank holiday week, there was a fishing competition that was on, and the beach was just full of utes, as they call them in Australia. I don't know if they call them utes in New Zealand, do they? Utility vehicles. Yeah, big 4x4s basically. And you need that to get on the sands, because I don't think you get on the sands without it. But they obviously came down as just fishermen all the way down. And this fishing competition was all up the coast apparently. It wasn't just here. It was like a quite an area and that it was covering in that. And there was loads of people on there. So I didn't see anybody catch anything, but they were there all day. They were enjoying themselves and all that. So it was good to see. And out in the distance, we could see it was in the far distance, so the shots aren't very clear. But apparently, it was Caroline's in this island, and it was White Island. Yeah,
did she look it up on the internet?
I think so. We got into this story about White Island in 2019, so not that long ago.
Yeah, it's an incredible story.
Yeah, there was a tragedy. Basically, it erupted. It's a volcanic island, and
it had tourists.
Yeah, it had tourists over there, and it erupted while tourists were on there. But it was quite horrendous, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, was it 40?
There was about 46 that were involved. There was a lot of injuries.
They were some of them were on the island and some were in boats, weren't they?
Yeah,
and there's incredible footage if you get a chance to Google it and have a look online of the footage.
I think there's also a Netflix or something like drama that covers the story as well. I think if it is, and there's 22 died.
It's just incredible. There's a lot going through court, I think.
Yeah, there's some criminal investigations that was brought.
As to the safety of it.
Health and safety of tourist people that were running the island, but also, I guess, the companies that were taking people backwards, forwards to it. But
you can't imagine stories like that.
No, and I think that was the thing that got to us, is that there was this location that was literally in eyesight from where we were that was such a tragic thing. And you suddenly realise that New Zealand is on this volcanic island, and I don't think that was sort of had hit us before, that there was this thing that was so close. You always think of these tragedies far away, don't you? And not right next to you. And that. So it was a bit of a moment when we saw
really
it.
Sad.
Yeah, really very sad.
Time to move on, and Roger is taking the lead this time. And we found as we went along it's important to swap over when travelling together and to keep a good distance, otherwise you miss the views. We're now taking a more remote route towards our next stop at Hicks Bay, where we've booked to stay the night. And hopefully the last of this weather front is blowing through. the expanse of forest close to the route continues to impress us. And landslides onto the roads is a continuous thing to look out for. And they must be spending a huge amount of time keeping the roads open at the moment. Fortunately, the weather changes just as we arrive at another photo opportunity identified by our tour guide.
Like a salad lunch. Ham salad, egg salad. I'm happy to prep.
Yep, we can do.
Only small.
Only small for Stu. I'll just have rice cakes and some of the cottage cheese or whatever we got. I'll bring me rice cakes over.
Start prepping.
And a stop at the Church of Rocacourt. The church was built in 1894 by a Duncan Stirling, who subsequently married a Maori tribal leader who lived in the area, and they had 10 children together. Stu the horse whisperer is at it again, finding a friend with a long face.
That's a good boy. Good boy.
We finally get to Hicks Bay and a campsite called Te Ararua. And it was about 20 NZ dollars per person, so 40 for me and Stu, about £20. Now it's a more basic site, but it has the usual facilities of showers, toilets and a kitchen area. And Roger's found us a beach walk that's not too far away, apparently. The beach is miles away.
Research did you do on this?
And as you can hear, the banter extends well into the family, and the focus of abuse moves around the group. Stu had it for several days following the episode of jet lag and waking everyone up on the first night in Auckland, so he was happy to then deflect the attention. The noise on this stone beach is deafening, and the raw power of the Pacific Ocean rolls in, as out there is Mexico and America if we're not mistaken. And there's lots of trees washed up, as you can see, and we're trying to work out if it's natural or it's actually storm damage. But either way, it adds to the desolation and the isolation of this location. And we meet a couple who live back in the UK originally, and they come regularly to visit their son. And each time now it's a ritual to build a beach shelter as a memory to the years gone by, and it's really sweet. Well, we'll leave it there for this episode, as we head back to the motorhomes, where we share the making of the tea.
Coming up in the next episode, we are blown away by the colour of the sea at this location. We go on a tough walk, but was it worth it? And we stay at a campsite which is the best so far.